Hello everyone, back again for yet another video class. By now, by the time you're watching this, all of you should have already sent or be sending me Essay 2. So I'm no longer going to talk about the evaluation analysis. It should be a done deal by now. I know that in the last video I gave an extra day for the due date. So if you get it to me today for the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, that's fine. That'll be September 23rd. And for those in the Tuesday, Thursday class, if you get it to me on Thursday, that's also fine. But I do need them this week. I've been checking up and I've got quite a few, but I'm also missing more than I feel comfortable with. So you do need to get those to me. Um, I've already started reading some and going through and doing my initial commenting and initial grading. Remember, these are first drafts. So whatever you get back from me, if you choose to, if you want to revise it, you do have that option. That's the same for every essay that we do. You will have the opportunity to revise it up until the final essay. The final essay we'll talk about when we get there. But for this essay 2, you will get a chance to revise it. Now, I'm not going to specifically talk about essay 3 tonight or today. Well, it's tonight right now because when I'm filming this, but whenever you're watching this, in this video, I'm not going to start discussing essay 3 yet in any kind of detail. But I am going to give you all kind of a not completely comprehensive, but kind of an introduction on how to conduct research, because for the final 2 essays, for the final essay, research will be a requirement, and you'll have to know how to do it. Now, for the 3rd essay, it's going to be encouraged because of the type of essay that it is. So that's going to be an option still, but essay 3 will highly benefit from research, and that essay 3 is going to be a problem solution essay. Now that's pretty open. You know, you're going to identify and define something that you think is a problem, an issue, something that needs to be either completely done away with, or something that needs to be overhauled, or something that needs to be addressed and improved, anything like that. So it's going to be you're not just, you have to identify the problem, and then you are going to propose solutions to that problem. So it's going to be a different kind of essay. And since it is so wide open, because think about it, if any of y'all watching this have never had a problem with anything, I don't know whether I am completely envious of you or if I feel so incredibly sorry for you. If you literally have a problem with nothing, I probably feel sorry for you. Because first, I just think that's flat out impossible anyway. So it will lend itself, this essay will lend itself to research. Now, when I say research, what I mean basically is what we would call, no, wow, I can't spell tonight. That's what I mean. That's how I spelled it. Empirical research. Okay, so what that means is that you go through and look at a variety of sources. You don't just come up with a preconceived notion and a foregone conclusion, and then look at dubious resources that sort of kind of back you up, or you misrepresent them. That's not what we're doing. When we talk about empirical research, you look at things that are reliable, you look at trusted sources, and you look at very focused sources that support your claim. Now, you do want to find sources that support you. That's exactly the route you want to take. But you also want to, while you're conducting research, you also want to look at opposing viewpoints. You want to address opposing viewpoints. The danger with not doing that is kind of like with this evaluation analysis essay. If you're doing a review of something and it's just 100% awesome and everything is great and there's nothing at all wrong, you're an advertisement for whatever it is you're reviewing. Well, with empirical research, if you ignore any possible downsides to what your argument is, or you completely ignore opposing viewpoints, you're not really doing research, and you're not doing empirical research. You're not looking at the whole picture. You're not looking outside of your own narrowly focused. Basically, you're looking at a conclusion that you want, so you're only going to find things that agree with you. You're not going to look at anything that disagrees. That's not honest research. That's biased to a degree where it becomes problematic. Now, all research has some level of a bias to it, but, well, almost all. I can't say all of it, but if it is completely one-sided research where you just absolutely ignore anything that goes against what you want to support or want to say, then you're not really doing true research. You're basically advertising for whatever your claim is, and it's honestly, it's misleading. It's deceptive, therefore it's misleading. So when you want to do your research, I'm just going to guess that specifically because of what we're going through right now with the whole campus situation and learning from home and distance learning, most of you are not going to be in a library, or particularly the Kauffman Library, researching through book stacks in the physical, pulling out physical books and looking at them. So most of your research is going to be done online, which is great. You know, that people can do research from anywhere now. It's an amazing thing. Online databases are borderline miraculous. I mean, they're such an outstanding source of information, but they're also so huge and so full of things that you can find just as much, if not more, horribly bad information as you can good information. Or sound. I should say sound and valid versus unsound. You don't really want to do that. So some of the resources you have at your disposal, well, the best resource that you have at your disposal right now is the library's set of databases. And you're a student, you have access to the library without being there. You the same way you access D2L, Clawmail, all of that, Banner, you've got access to the library. And since you are a student, you have access to these databases. Now, you can't just go to Google and look at these databases. These databases are pay services. The school pays a whole lot of money for these things, and they are there for your benefit, okay? Now, speaking of Google, that's kind of a good segue. So I'm going to show you all, I'm going to be switching screens here quite a bit. So you can still hear me, but if we go to the GGC homepage, now this is faculty and staff because I'm faculty and staff, ha ha ha. But it's these links are gonna be the same for you for the most part. So if you go to quick links, you can go right down here to Kauffman Library. Now that is our library, and this is where you go to get to all the resources. The databases. You can also look for just books, journals, all that stuff. You can look for the physical copies and actually go into the library and get them. Now, I'm assuming that most of you are not going to do that. So what I've done already here, so because I had to sign in, is I've already clicked on the Kauffman Library um, homepage. When you click on it, this is what you're going to go to. Now, when you get there, I'm going to close this right now. So once you get to the Kauffman Library homepage, you've got resources right here. Services, space, electronic journals, research guides. You've got all this stuff here, but save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headaches and go to this one right here that my cursor's on, databases. If you click on databases, we have 158 databases. Now within these databases, there are, I don't even have any clue how many, but they are, it is at the very least, there are hundreds of thousands of articles in here. Okay, there's newspapers, there's magazines, there's videos, there's all kinds of stuff. But since we have 158 different databases, I mean, look at some of these. Career and technical education database. So some of them are very specialized. Child development and adolescent studies. Okay, these are all good for when, these are going to be a lot more valuable to you when you get into your upper level classes, particularly when you start taking your major, whatever your major is going to be. Then you can go, these specialized databases will be a lot more helpful to you. But for now, in this 1101 class, since you're doing general research, and since time is such a valuable thing for all of us, I would recommend, I'm not requiring this, I say I would recommend that you use this database right here. Start with this one. I'm not saying that only use this, but I would start with this because this will give you a nice, well-rounded idea of what to expect for your topic. Because if you pick some kind of topic that's so obscure that you can't find anything for it, you're going to be in an uphill battle. That doesn't mean you have to abandon it. It just means you're going to have to do a lot more work, which is totally fine if you're willing to do it. If I click on Academic Search Complete, what's going to happen is it's going to take me to this EBSCOhost page. Now, EBSCOhost is, I'm not sure if they are the largest, but they're one of the, I'm pretty sure they are the largest host of databases in the world, not just in the US, in the entire world. So if you're looking for it for academic purposes, for a subject or a topic, they're going to have something about it on here, because what they do is they license a whole bunch of other databases. So what I'm showing you right now is the default. Now you see that this Boolean phrase box is already checked. Keep this one checked. Do not go to find all my search items. That's turning this into Google. This is, I'm not going to say absolutely worthless, but it's pretty close to worthless. Find any of my search terms? No. That's, again, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you do this. Just keep the Boolean phrase, and I will explain in a second what this means. Keep the Boolean phrase checked. Now, since you are doing research, check full text too. If you don't check full text, you're going to get a lot of results that are just abstracts, where it's just a very brief bullet point style summary of what the article's about. You don't even get the article, so you can't quote from it, you can't give paraphrase, you can't cite it, because you're not using the actual source. You're looking at a summary of the source, all right? So you want to make sure that you have full text checked. Now, for this assignment, I am not requiring scholarly peer-reviewed journals. That's not a requirement for this assignment, so do not check that one unless you want purely scholarly peer-reviewed journals. Now in the future, you are going to have assignments, either in this class or some other classes that you take. You are going to, that's a guarantee, you are going to have assignments where it requires peer-reviewed journals for your sources. That means check that box. What you're doing by checking these boxes is you're limiting your search results. Now, if you think about it logically, limiting your search results is good. Would you rather click on a search and have 25,000 results that you got to comb through hoping you find something useful, or would you rather have 10? I'd rather have 10 personally, because I can narrow my effort. I can narrow time wasted. I can eliminate time wasted. And that is super important to me. Time is very valuable. Okay, so I've got Boolean phrase, I've got this highlighted, and I've got full text highlighted. So what the Boolean phrase is using words like and, or, and but. And they mean what they say. If I type in cars and trucks, what that's going to do is it's going to give my search results every article in the database that has the words cars and trucks both. Okay, that will, if the word cars appears, it's going to appear in the search results. If the word trucks appears, it's going to appear in the search results. If the word cars and trucks both appear in the article, then that's also going to appear. So that's going to get me a whole lot of results. If I put cars or trucks, then that's almost the same. It's going to have both of them, either one. Now, if I put cars, not trucks, then I'm only going to get articles that have the word cars in it. Now, that might be an important distinction, but if I'm just doing motor vehicles, then I just type in vehicles. Okay, so the Boolean phrases are important. So what I'm going to do here is just give an example. Let's say if it's well, for instance, in my 1102 course, which by the way is I'm teaching nothing but 1102 next semester. So, you know, if you guys like what you've got so far, think about taking me for literature. But 1102 is a literature class. Okay, so what students have to do in that class is do literary research analysis. So let's say if I'm going to do my literary analysis on Ernest Hemingway or one of his stories, if I just type in Ernest Hemingway, and it doesn't matter if you capitalize it or not, if I just type in Ernest Hemingway and I do a basic search, I get 1,292 results. Okay, that's not good. I don't have time to go through all of these even superficially and figure out if any of these are going to be valuable to what I'm writing about. Okay, so you want to have a good idea what your topic is. For instance, if I was writing about Ernest Hemingway, the least I would want to know is Ernest Hemingway and one of his stories. So if I just do Hills Like White Elephants, which y'all will most likely read if you take my 1102 class. Okay, so let's see what this does. Right now we've got 1,292 results. That's too much. That's ridiculous. We are wasting tremendous amounts of time right now, and we're probably going to settle for something that's not good. Now I have it down to 15 results. That is excellent. That's manageable. Okay, so you see what I've done there? I've just cut it down from over 1,000 to 15 by using and the title of one of Hemingway's stories. Now, let's say that I already know what my thesis is, or not even, maybe not my specific thesis statement, but let's say maybe I know that I want to write about Ernest Hemingway, Hills Like White Elephants, and gender. because gender is a very important part of this specific story. Okay, so I'm going to just add another and to my search. So I've got Ernest Hemingway and Hills Like White Elephants and gender. Now with these Boolean phrases, the way that this database, EBSCOhost, is set up, I don't have to put quotes around it. I don't have to do any of that stuff. Since I've got the box checked that says Boolean phrase, EBSCOhost search engine, the algorithm knows to use it as a Boolean phrase. Okay, so if I type and in, I don't have to put it in all caps, I don't have to underline it, I don't have to put it in quotes, none of that. Do it just like it is on the screen, and let's hit this and see what we get. Okay, now we've gone back up. My initial search did not yield any results, so now I'm back to 1,316. So that didn't work very well. Now I'll let the cat out of the bag. This story is about abortion, so let's see if we get anything with that. We may or may not. Ah, so there we go. The story is about a woman just trying to decide whether or not she should have an abortion. Okay, so now we have 4 results. And they're all full text. Okay, that is wonderful. Now, if you're looking at the screen here where my cursor is, you'll see that there is HTML full text, and then there's also PDF full text. If you have the option, always, now I'm using an absolute, always, 100% of the time, choose PDF over HTML. Why, you may ask? Well, I'm about to show you. If I click on HTML full text, you're going to notice the way it looks. Wow. There are no page numbers. Nothing. It's all just one giant block of paragraphs. That's what HTML is. That's how it's going to look. It's just code, and it's just going to come up as the text alone. Okay? You don't want that, because if you're using this as a source, you're going to have to cite it. Part of citing sources, especially print sources, because this did appear in print form originally, you have to cite page numbers in your internal citations and also in your works cited page. So right here, I want the PDF. Always pick the PDF. Now you're going to see a stark difference here. You see that the PDF is actually a scan, a facsimile scan of the print version of this. So look right here. Oh, look at that. I have page numbers, 59. So if I were to quote any of these, if I were to quote this little section right here that I have highlighted, I would quote Weish 59. So that's why you always want to choose the PDF. It is the best way to do it. This is what it looked like in the print form. It's the same as the print form. If you do HTML, you're just going to either not cite the page numbers or you're going to have to guess. Don't do that. All right, so PDF is the way to go. So if I go back, you see that I went from 1,300 or so results to 4. And if I knew that I was going to write about Hills Like White Elephants and I was going to focus on the aspects of abortion in it, I've got 4 right here. That's awesome. Now, that doesn't mean that those are the only 4 sources I can use. I can also do other searches. Let's see if we get anything for dialogue. And I'm doing these in real time, y'all. I have no idea what the results I'm going to get are. I didn't I didn't test this out previous to making this video. I'm doing real actual research right now and not knowing what I'm going to get. So let's see if we even get anything with dialogue, because almost the entire story is dialogue. Ooh, we only got 1. And it's PDF though, so that's good. There, you see, it's a scan of the whole thing. And we have page 18, we have our page 19, we have our page numbers. So we're good to go with that. Now, probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm showing you these databases, and particularly this one, Academic Search Complete, is to show you how much that you can reduce your time wasted on searching for sources that are not going to be valuable to you, and you're just going to end up wasting time. So what I'm going to do now is open a new window, go to Google, and I'm going to, oh, there it is right there. Ernest Hemingway, Hills Like White Elephants. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. I'm just going to go to the next page and see what we've got. Oh, so we have about 363,000 results. Do you see how I've just completely overwhelmed myself with possible sources? Am I going to go through all of this? Oh, and by the way, y'all, some of this stuff, like this one that I'm pointing at right here, lit charts, regardless of who you take for 1102, when you're studying literature, do not use lit charts. This thing is terrible. I don't know who makes it. I don't know who does the content, but I've had students use it in the past, and I've looked at the direct quotes from it and said, well, that's weird. And I've gone and looked at the source that they've cited, and the source is completely incorrect. I mean, they didn't even have the right characters. It was the wrong characters for the story. That don't use lit charts, and don't use Shmoop. Shmoop study guides are garbage. I'm not saying they're cheating, I'm saying they are garbage. Lit charts is garbage. I don't know if this is a joke where they're trying to give a bunch of students bad information and laugh about it. Don't use those, okay? That's my little caveat for whatever you do with 1102. Don't use this, don't use this, find something else. But you see here, there's 363,000 results. That's ridiculous. That's a horrible way to do research. Let's just look at the author himself. Let's just look at Hemingway and see what we get. 40,800,000 results. 40 million. Now, if that's dollars, heck yeah, that's a good thing. If that's research, no. This is insurmountable. You can't even go there. Oh, and also another caveat here, do not use Wikipedia for any research for any college class. I don't care what it is. Do not use Wikipedia as a source. It is not valid. The way it is currently set up, it will never be valid. Whatever you can find on Wikipedia, you can find somewhere else, and if it's reliable, you can find it from a reliable source. So do not use Wikipedia, please. Don't use it for my class. Don't use it for anyone else's class. Don't use it for any college class. Bad news. So there you go. There's your databases. That's what you can do with them. It's all here. And now you've got a whole, I said Academic Search Complete for any possible topic. It's the best that we have. But if you're looking, let's say if you go into accounting, if you're majoring in accounting or something that has to do with that, you've got ProQuest Accounting. This is a great resource for accountants and for accounting research and accounting information. American History, Health Watch, APA Study Guide, electronic, all this stuff. There are so many resources in here. If you're going into nursing, you're going to have to use this biological science database. That's going to be a really big resource for you. So all of business search, all of this stuff it can be super specialized. We have the Civil Rights Digital Library. If you're going to do your research paper on civil rights, any aspect of the civil rights movement, this would be great. So we have tons of specialized databases, but just for general research, I would say this is probably your best bet, Academic Search Complete. Um, it's got, you can find something about almost anything in here. Okay, and this is again just an introduction. I'm not saying that this is the only thing that you can use, and I'm not saying that this is all we're going to the only time we're going to talk about it. But the databases are your friend. There you go. The databases and the Kauffman Library equal good research, good sources. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop here for tonight because the research can get much, much more complicated, and the minutia can get really, really thick and really, really deep. So I don't want to go too far into it right now. This is a very basic, skimming the surface introduction. But you're going to have to know this for my class. You're going to have to know it for 1102. You're going to have to know it for a whole bunch of other classes, regardless of what your major is. Now, notice I said regardless, not irregardless. Just stay away from that fake word, okay? That's my final wish for the evening. And get those SA2 to me if you haven't already. I'm going to get them back to you as soon as possible so that if you do want to do a revision, you will have the opportunity and plenty of time to do it. And other than that, we're just going to keep moving forward. So take care, and I'll see y'all next time.